Hey there, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. How good do you want to be? How excellent do you want to be? Because in the times that are coming, you're going to have to be excellent if you want to make it. I think mediocrity is going to exact a heavy toll and price. I think a lot of people today get by with mediocrity that will see them die, and unfortunately, many of their loved ones die as a result of their mediocrity. Society today is very forgiving. When it changes, and I believe it will change rapidly, the rules are going to change overnight. Actions will have more immediate and more final consequences. I want to talk to you today about attention to detail. When I was in Special Forces, we trained snipers. And one of the techniques, amongst the many techniques we used to train snipers, was something called Kim's Game. Kim is a book story by Rudyard Kipling. I once got the collected works of Kipling and then was dismayed to find out that Kim wasn't in it. It's a great story if you can get a hold of it to read it. But the way Kim's Game works, and there's a lot of variations on it, and those of you with children should play it with children. You should play it with each other. I didn't set this video up, but you take a tray and you put on that tray items. A pocket knife, a key, uh, a paperweight, a magnet, stuff on this tray, a marble. And then you let the person look at the tray for a period of time, and it's not very long, like a tray with about 15 items on it. You let them look at it for 3 to 5 minutes, and then you cover the tray with a cloth and you take it away. In the early stages of the game, you then have people recall everything that was on the tray. The variations of that game are: you wait an hour, you wait a day. What was on the tray? Draw a picture of what was on the tray. Where was every item in relation to every other item? Pocket knife. What kind of pocket knife? What color? Who made it? A key. What kind of key? What color? Who made it? On and on and on. You can take the game, you let them look at the tray, you take it away. When you bring it back, what's missing? Something's not there. The pocket knife. What color pocket knife? What kind of pocket knife? Move some things. What's changed? Do you see how you can just make this more and more and more complicated? It forces people to pay attention to what they're looking at and to remember and to recall, and it fires synapses in one's brain. It's a great game. A variation of that is what I call the sniper walk. And you can also do this, we do it in static positions too, where he's just laying there looking through a scope. But the way I like to do it, and I've done this with civilians, you tie a rope to the waist, or just hook it with a snap link to like my belt, let's say. Click, and it goes back there. And every, 6 feet or so, there's a knot in the rope. So you have to, the people behind me who are being tested, trained, have to grab onto the knot. All right. That means they have to walk at the pace I'm walking. They can't stop. And then I walk down a trail at a certain pace, usually slow. And they have to look and notice things that shouldn't be there. There's a canteen hanging in a tree. There's a tomahawk stuck in that tree over there. There's an orange water can over there by that rock, and they can be far away, they can be up close. There's a t-shirt hanging in a tree, just out there things, and then they have to note them and notice them while they're walking. A different one on that game is you put them out there and then they come out and they're looking through their scope and they have to notice things that way. I like walking people and making them notice. And then what you do, the goodness in this course is, when you're done walking the group through and they all write down what they saw and then talk about it, you walk them back through and you point everything out. And they go, I can't believe I didn't see that, right? That's training. Attention to detail. There's some decent spy movies out there. There's one with, I think, Al Pacino, maybe? Where he's like a bad rogue CIA guy who's training a good guy. We don't know he's bad till towards the end of the movie. But he's training him to be a spook. And they go into a cemetery and then they leave and he goes, who was buried where? I've been to things where you're trained to notice all kinds of things. A lot of you guys who are switched on go in and notice where the exit is to the building you're in. Where are the exits? How many people are in there? How are they sitting? Where are you sitting? Who, just notice, pay attention. Do you remember? Come on, all of y'all had to have this in school at one time or another, where a teacher passes out a test and says, okay, and it's like math usually, and she'll say, and it might even say on the top of the test, read the entire test before beginning. And so it's like question number 1, 365 times 27. Question number 2, 687 divided by 23. And at the bottom it says, answer this question and ignore all the questions above. 2 plus 2. You sign your paper and turn it in, And people don't figure that out till the end because they didn't follow instructions. When I have training events here, whether those are for what I call civilians or they're for Shofarians, I send out detailed instructions. When I send them out to a class that, a civilian class, people who are paying to come here, it's usually in the form of a military operations order, and it's usually, if you printed it out, 3 pages long. It has everything in it that student needs to know. One of those things may be bring a chair, and the student shows up and they don't have a chair. Oh, I didn't know we needed to bring one. And, as an instructor, and they're paying you money to be there, I just want to beat these people on the head and go, what does this say? I get that all the time. I put out details to people, Shofarians. I'll send an email out to everybody and say, hey, we're going to do this thing at 3:30. Be here, bring this, do this. I'll get constant emails over the next week based on that email. Oh, what time are we doing it? What about this? What about that? This is people today. They don't pay attention. You guys aren't all paying attention. I have done this twice now. Most recently was, this is the Viking Meetup sign up. And I wrote in there, if you are not hosting a meetup, do not comment in this post. If you have any questions or comments, send an email to the person who's hosting it. And yet and still, people continue to get on there and write little comments or ask questions. So then I go back and I bold it out. Do not ask questions. I said, please. Do not comment. And still, I'm constantly going back there and I'm having to delete those. Because people they either don't pay attention or they don't realize that I'm freaking serious. And I judge you. I do. I remember who comments when I said don't comment. Because it could be important to my survival later that you can't pay attention or won't follow instructions. Ooh, sounds harsh, doesn't it? A little bit irritated because I expect more from you people. Here's why. And I have an email. You guys can write me an email and say, I don't get it. Why? I'll tell you. Here's why. We don't have a nice, easy format right now for people to back and forth, back and forth. And so if I let non-essential comments on a post like that, where it's basically, this is the list, this is the flyer hanging on the bulletin board of where all the meetups are, find one that you want to go to and go to it. If I let you all comment, or people comment, and it just gets silly, cool man, I'm gonna be there. Is it okay to bring kids? Hey, that's only 3 miles from my house. If I let the whole thing fill up with that, then the new person from Minnesota who's trying to find a Minnesota link up is going to have to go through hundreds of posts of just pure useless bunk to get to what they want to get to. I don't want that. I want to keep it crisp. I want to keep it clean so that y'all can link up with people. Does that make sense? I'm not doing this because I'm on a power trip. I'm doing it because I know this will work best. And if y'all clutter it up with nonsense, it's not going to work. So if I ask you to not comment on a post, please don't. Think about the other Vikings. That's what it's for. I don't do that to most posts. Most posts, I let you guys go. How many times have I said don't post a link in the comments? It's like talking to 8th graders sometimes. Attention to detail. You guys are thinking it's not a big deal, some of you. I'm telling you, I've been in situations where paying attention or not paying attention is life or death. Big deal. No second chance. Immediate terminal consequences for one's failure to pay attention or follow instructions. Most of y'all, many of y'all, have never been in situations like that, where your actions are so accountable. But those times are coming. And like I've said in the last couple videos, it's weighing on my heart. Y'all aren't going to have a whole lot of time to get spun up, to get with the program. You need to start training yourself now. Personal responsibility, self-discipline, paying attention. It's important. You can still have fun. You could still be happy. But you should pay attention. Another example. I don't really like having visitors at Shofar Mountain. We have a lot of people that come here. We judge people by the way their children act and behave. All the Shofarians do. When new people come, we watch the kids. Why? Because the kids are a direct result of the parents. Out here in this environment, if somebody says, hey, stop, that's not a good time for a kid to look at you and go, and keep running. There could be terminal consequences. This is not a park-like environment out here. It looks really nice, but it's not a park-like environment. It's rugged. You need to train y'all's children to do what you tell them to do when you tell them to do it. Immediate obedience. Stop. Come here. One more step, you're off the cliff. One more step, you're in traffic. One more step, that bad guy can grab you. Whatever. Attention to detail. For those of you who say, I got it, you still have work to do. I still have work to do. Work on memory. Work on noticing. Work on paying attention. Oh, they're pretty flowers. How many sets of flowers? What color? Where were they planted? In a survival situation, information is good. It's good to know things. It's good to remember things. It's good to notice things. There's a corollary to this. You can overload somebody's systems, which then makes their brain shut down, or their sensors or their systems shut down. Unfortunately, Some people's systems are pretty easy to overload. You can get better by practicing. You can get better by resolving to pay attention to detail. Let's do that, shall we? All right. I'll see you out there.